Rome was the richest empire the world had ever seen. From the sands of Egypt to the forests of Britain, its armies marched, its governors ruled, and its wealth flowed into the eternal city like a river of gold. Rome did not just conquer people, it conquered treasure. From the mines of Spain, from the temples of Greece, from the palaces of the East, caravans of wealth arrived constantly. Roman emperors sat on thrones made of ivory, their palaces glittered with precious metals, and the temples of the gods shone with golden statues and offerings. The empire was built on this staggering wealth, and for centuries it seemed limitless. Yet, when the empire finally fell, much of that wealth was nowhere to be found. A civilization that had once controlled unimaginable quantities of gold left behind ruins, broken coins, and fragments of art. The question that has haunted historians for centuries is simple. Where did it all go? How does the greatest fortune in history vanish? To understand the mystery, one must first appreciate the sheer size of the empire's treasure. Rome demanded tribute from every conquered land. When legions defeated a rival kingdom, caravans of loot followed. Victories over Carthage brought unimaginable spoils. From Greece came statues, gems, and precious metals. When Octavian conquered Egypt, he claimed the treasures of Cleopatra and the Ptolemies, a fortune so great that it flooded Rome's markets with gold and collapsed interest rates. Then there was the conquest of Judea. In the year 70, after the destruction of Jerusalem's temple, the Romans carried back treasures accumulated over centuries. Golden menorahs, silver trumpets, sacred vessels, and a fortune of coinage. These treasures were paraded through Rome in triumph, displayed in the new Temple of Peace, and then locked away in imperial vaults. Ancient writers describe tons of gold arriving after every major victory, so much that it reshaped Rome's economy. Spain and Dacia, modern-day Romania, were the empire's mines. They produced steady streams of gold, sometimes measured not in pounds but in tons every year. Rome, quite literally, was drowning in treasure. But treasure is only valuable if it can be kept. As the centuries passed, Rome faced new enemies, new pressures, and internal collapse. The first blows came not from outside, but from within. Emperors and generals hoarded wealth for themselves, fearing instability. Coins were devalued and melted down as rulers struggled to pay armies and bribe officials. Hoards of gold and silver were buried in times of crisis, hidden by wealthy Romans in fields and cellars. Some of these hoards have been found by archaeologists, jars of coins, carefully stacked ingots, or jewelry buried in haste. Many more were lost forever when their owners died or fled. Every hidden hoard tells the same story: fear that Rome's wealth was no longer safe. And then came the great Sackins. In 410, Alaric and his Visigoths stormed Rome. Chroniclers describe wagons loaded with gold, silver, and jewels leaving the eternal city. Temples were stripped, nobles were robbed, sacred vessels were carried off. A few decades later, in 455, the Vandals descended on Rome and did the same. They loaded their ships with treasure, even taking the sacred spoils of Jerusalem that had once rested in Rome's vaults. Some of this plunder was carried to Carthage, where the Vandals built their capital. But treasure moves in circles. When the Byzantine general Belisarius reconquered Carthage a century later, he reclaimed some of Rome's stolen wealth and brought it to Constantinople. For a brief moment, the cycle seemed complete. Yet not all the treasure was accounted for. Some had been melted, traded, or lost at sea. Somewhere in the Mediterranean, perhaps beneath the waves, Roman wealth vanished without record. But even this does not explain the scale of the disappearance. Rome had centuries to amass its fortune. Even repeated looting could not erase it entirely. A deeper drain was happening quietly, invisibly, through trade. Rome had a hunger for luxury that knew no limits. Spices from India, silk from China, perfumes, pearls, and exotic animals, all were bought with Roman gold. The Roman elite adored Eastern luxuries, and for centuries the empire bled wealth to distant markets. Roman coins have been discovered in India, buried in ancient ports, and as far as Vietnam. Gold that once passed through the hands of emperors now lay in foreign lands, traded away for silk that decayed long ago. Ancient writers complained bitterly that Rome was being drained, that Eastern merchants grew rich while Rome grew weaker. By the time the empire collapsed, much of its fortune had already slipped out of its grasp. And still, there are whispers of hidden treasure. The most famous legends concern the spoils of Jerusalem, the sacred treasures paraded under Titus's arch. Some claim they were hidden in secret vaults beneath Rome, sealed away when the empire faced collapse. Others say they were transported east, locked within the palaces of Constantinople, and later lost when the Crusaders sacked the city in 1204. Medieval rumors spread that the treasures had survived, guarded by the church or hidden by secret orders. The golden menorah, in particular, is said by some to still exist, buried deep beneath Rome or hidden in the Vatican. Whether true or not, the mystery endures because none of these treasures have been found. The fall of Rome in 476 did not end the story. The Eastern Roman Empire, Byzantium, lived on for nearly 1,000 years, carrying with it much of Rome's wealth. Constantinople was the richest city of the Middle Ages, its palaces overflowing with gold, silver, and jewels. Byzantine records even describe treasures from ancient Rome, still housed in the city. But when Constantinople was finally sacked, first by Crusaders and later by the Ottoman Turks, much was once again lost. Some was melted into coins, some carried away, some perhaps still hidden in vaults beneath the city. Treasure does not vanish entirely, changes form, moves, disappears from sight. And yet, when we look at the ruins of Rome, we are struck by how little remains compared to the empire's once staggering wealth. This gap has fueled endless speculation. Some believe enormous treasure fleets were sunk at sea, sending gold to the depths of the Mediterranean where it still lies today. Others suspect deliberate concealment, that Roman nobles, facing collapse, buried vast fortunes in remote locations, hoping to return. Archaeologists have uncovered countless Roman hoards across Europe. Farmers stumble on jars of coins. Divers discover ingots on the sea floor. Metal detectors find jewelry buried in fields. These finds prove that treasure was hidden on a massive scale. But they are small fragments of what must once have existed. Somewhere, still undiscovered, may lie caches of Roman gold, larger than anything yet found. The mystery deepens with the role of the Church. As Rome fell, the Christian Church rose in power, inheriting land, buildings, and influence. Some argue that the Church also inherited portions of Rome's lost wealth. Over centuries, the Vatican became one of the richest institutions on earth, with some of that wealth originally imperial treasure. The idea has sparked endless theories. Did early popes hide away treasures looted from temples? Did they preserve what emperors could not? Or was the wealth simply consumed, lost in wars, melted into new forms, passed on so many times that its Roman origins vanished? There are darker whispers still. Legends speak of the Knights Templar, the mysterious medieval order, stumbling upon secret Roman or even biblical treasures during their campaigns. Some claim the Templars found the sacred spoils of Jerusalem, hidden since Rome's time, and used them to build their fortune. Others believe fragments of Roman wealth survive in hidden vaults across Europe, guarded by secret societies. Whether these are myths or distorted truths, they show the power of the mystery. People need to believe that such unimaginable treasure cannot simply vanish. And yet, in a way, that may be exactly what happened. Wealth does not remain static. Gold is melted, recast, traded, carried across oceans, hidden, and forgotten. Rome's fortune was so vast that its disappearance was not a single event, but a process. Looted in sackings, drained in trade, hoarded in times of fear, consumed by corruption, melted by conquerors, hidden in caches piece by piece. Century by century, the greatest fortune in history dissolved into the fabric of the world. Today, fragments resurface: a coin in a farmer's field, a menorah carved into stone, a sunken ship discovered by divers, but the whole remains elusive. The mystery of Rome's lost treasure is not only about gold, it is about impermanence. An empire that once seemed eternal, overflowing with riches, fell into ruin, leaving behind only ruins and legends. The missing gold is a symbol of that collapse. It reminds us that even the greatest wealth cannot prevent decline, that power and treasure are fleeting. And yet, the idea that somewhere, beneath soil, stone, or sea, Rome's lost fortune still waits, continues to spark imagination. Perhaps one day, a discovery will reveal part of the truth. Perhaps a diver will uncover a sunken fleet, or an archaeologist will open a forgotten vault. Until then, the treasure remains both lost and eternal, scattered across the world, hidden in plain sight, a ghost of an empire that once ruled the earth. If you enjoyed this journey through Mystery Vault, make sure to subscribe and join us for more mysteries of history and the world around us.